September 22nd, first day of fall. Hard to believe, as you were saying.
Seems like fall, right?
Yeah, first day of fall. Hard to believe. Hello, Cindy, up there on the screen. How are you?
Seems like I just saw you.
Yes, we just did. So welcome to the Solid Waste and Recycling Board meeting for this afternoon. So as we typically do, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 2 o'clock exactly. And first thing that we always do is we take a look at the agenda. As everyone had a chance to take a look at today's agenda, it was emailed out on multiplications. And if you don't, there are copies up here. So you can grab a copy up here.
Randy, we would like to make an amendment to the agenda.
Okay.
So we added the August board report at the time of the submittal deadline. We didn't have that. We didn't have the glass numbers to submit that. Now we have them, so now we have the August report.
Okay. And that's in our packet?
It will not be in your packet, but it will be on the screen.
Okay, good, it will be presented. Also, I believe that Neil is going to be joining us at one point or another, so that's what he said to me, so, okay.
Randy,
Yes, Cindy?
the August report is in your hard copy packets. It was not included in the link that you got earlier in the week.
Okay, good. I thought it was missing, but okay, good. Well, we'll get to that. So the agenda that's set forth in front of us, has everyone read it? So, and I have also, so I approve to move forward. Is there a second?
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Point of clarification. I'm sorry, you approving the agenda?
That's all I was doing, yeah.
Okay, take it back.
You know how I am, Bill, so whenever, so. And then as far as approval of the minutes from July the 28th is what we have in front of us.
I have a question, point of clarification. Beaufort County pays for all residential household garbage disposal, both residential curbside and collection centers. Does that include recyclables or not recyclables?
Not recyclable.
So recyclables are not paid for by the county?
That is correct.
Okay.
Not for curbside.
Bill, is that your only question, or did you have another one?
Hauling contract award. I would love someday to just come down to the office and take a look at the RFP and the response on my own
Oh, okay.
information.
Yeah, that would be in your office, right, Cindy?
I have a copy, and you can also go through Dave Thomas's office with purchasing if that's more convenient for you.
Okay, good. You good, Bill?
Solid waste management plan update. It says that the plan was brought back to Public Works Facility for approval on June 20th, and they approved the plan on the 27th.
Cindy, I'm looking up at you. That means correct.
That's correct. We went to public facilities with the final version as information only, and then came back to public facilities so that they could vote and then go to county council. It did go to county council and was approved unanimously.
So you're saying is that the final draft that we got is now an approved solid waste management plan? That we never
That is-
voted on?
That it was, we took all the comments from the workshop, went back to the consultant with those. She did an addendum, went before public facilities. And then, like I said, that was for information only. They kept it for a period of time so they'd have time to consume it. And then it went for vote. And if you remember during the workshop, we said that we would bring that back to the board each March in case we wanted to make any changes.
So that incorporated the existing solid waste ordinance 62. So the final plan has what is existing chapter 62 ordinance.
It does, however, we'll talk about that in item number 13 later in the agenda.
I have it as 14, okay.
Okay. Anything from previous minutes that you want to comment on, Bill? Are we good? So we will address that shortly, Cindy. So let's go around the room with our introductions. So we officially can be recorded.
Sally Dennis, District 7.
Lawrence Bryan, District 5.
Brad Woods, Marine Corps Recruit Depot Paris Island Liaison.
Chris Benet, Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort Liaison.
Bill Granite, District 6.
Good, guys.
I'm Chloe McGuigan. I'm the recycling coordinator.
Welcome, welcome.
Brian Durrance, District 1.
Sean Epps, HDR.
Good. Randy Bomey, and I'm District 9. So we have Angel back here.
Angel Marcinkoski, Solid Waste Recycling.
We also have Cindy on Zoom up on the right up there, so.
Cindy Carter, Solid Waste Recycling.
You also have Mike Bennett, District 3 on Zoom.
Oh, hey, Mike, how are you?
Good, good. Sorry I couldn't make it out there. It's got tied up, and this was a very nice option, actually.
Yeah, this is great having Zoom like this. So we don't have any public here, do we? So has anyone received any public comment that they want to pass on? Okay, we really have no public comment, so let's move on down to number 7.
Oh, I got a question.
Sure.
What's HDR? Because I hadn't been here for the last.
It's an engineering company.
Oh,
We're an engineering company that does business all over the southeast.
okay.
Could you expand on that a little bit? Engineering in regards to,
All types of civil engineering,
Okay.
transportation, solid waste,
okay,
but typically civil engineering. We also have architectural components. We do work for Beaufort County. Recently been selected on 2 of their transportation on calls. And we're also, we're recently selected on your MRF facility over in Bluffton,
Good.
and are working with you on that.
good, good. So will we see you at these meetings?
Yes, sir. My focus specifically is transportation, but anytime I represent the whole state. So anytime I'm somewhere and there's a meeting, I tend to try and go just to understand what we're doing and how the client feels and make sure that you're happy with what we're doing for you.
Good, good. Well, we welcome and we're happy to have you here today.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
It's
And
great.
we take that one step further, they also work in the Northeast. They're my waste to energy consultant on my waste to energy facility in New York.
So they're quite large, you're saying?
They're nationwide.
Yeah, 11,000 employees.
Oh, wow, it is quite large. So we had someone walk in. Would you like to introduce yourself, Mr. Neal?
Sorry, I'm late. Traffic was horrendous on 21, Neil beside Beaufort County Public Works Director.
Neil, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it very much. Okay, so updates regarding the meetings with County Council. We do this every single time, and hopefully there is some positive feedback. So has anyone had an opportunity to talk to your councilman or email back and forth? Or so this is something that I always take a minute and talk about the importance of your councilman. So this board that meets has a specific purpose, and we need to be heard loud and clear because solid waste and recycling is such a huge part of Beaufort County, the budget, so forth and so on. So we need to be talking to our councilman. I've had the opportunity to talk to mine. Just to bring him up to speed, his name is Mark Lawson, District 9. No comments, really, but just making them aware of the urgency and the problems that we encounter on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Things like we got to get recycling under control. It's absolutely mandatory. As we've said before, where I came from, if you didn't have everything separated cleanly out for pickup, they would just keep going and drive right by you. So we have a lot of work to do, and the importance of that is quite significant. So please reach out. If nothing else, email. They'll get back to you. We do have a turn that's coming up since we had an election that was a primary, and we have a general coming, and we already know some of our councilmen are going to be flipped. So we want to get the new people up and running as quick as possible. So, and I know Neil's got an aggressive agenda along with his team as it pertains to 2023 and waste management and a few other things.
Can you see my hand raised on the Zoom? I didn't know if you guys can see me over there.
Is that Mike?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mike.
I did have an update, just a quick meeting. We didn't meet with the council, but Cindy, myself, Neil, Peter Christian, who's with the General Island Council, and Jeff Bucklow, who's with Town of Hilton Head, we're doing successive meetings each month as we push forward. And number 12 on the discussion item, I think we'll talk a little bit more about this. But as we, as the Hilton Head, Town of Hilton Head garners more support towards single hauler systems, the recovery facility, and working in partnership with Beaufort County, started monthly meetings. The last meeting was very successful, and I believe probably that number 12 is a record of those meetings. So things are definitely over in Hilton Head, but
We appreciate that, Mike. So fact is, I heard your meetings have been successful, and you got some nice momentum going right now. So that's good news for recyclables, that's for sure. So. Okay, let's move on down. So Angel, are you going to be doing the J. Mitchell Graham Award as you indicated?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm happy to announce that the implementation of the decal system was awarded the 2022 J. Mitchell Graham Memorial Award by the South Carolina Association of Counties. The award was presented on August 3rd during the South Carolina Association of Counties Conference in Wild Dunes. We want to also recognize GIS and mapping staff for their contribution to the award and the program.
That was a big deal. That was a really big deal what you guys pulled off with that decal system. So and things are going smoothly now, and no more complaints. In the beginning, there were many complaints. They're all gone, thank goodness. So, and just so that everyone knows, that's what this is. We had it here last time, but it's quite a significant award to win. So you just don't walk around and get these every day of the week. So congratulations to all of you guys that did so much to make that happen. So thank you. Okay, solid waste recycling reports. I hate to just run through this and put graphs up and just talk, but let's just continue with it with that methodology, and then we can ask questions as we go through it. So Angel, are you going to be giving the reports?
That will be me.
Okay.
So we are at the beginning of fiscal year 23, and I'm going to highlight the data for July and August. As Cindy mentioned, your packets are going to include that printed copy of the August report. We have averaged 534 monthly pulls this fiscal year compared to an average of 558 monthly pulls last fiscal year. Hauling costs have increased since this time last year due to the new contract award. The hauling budget to date is at 17% expended as compared to 13% last August.
So 17% year to date versus last year, 13%. You, in dollar amount, quantitatively, how many dollars is that, do you know?
I would have to look at the data
Okay.
to get you that, yeah.
Okay, that's quite significant, 4%. Okay.
yeah, that was 4%. Do we know what that increase was from?
We do have a new contract, and so that's going to reflect those new contract costs.
It went
And
up.
those actual costs are on the second page of your board report each month. You can look at it'll say solid waste hauling cost, and it'll give you month-to-month breakdown.
Was it a 4%? So if it's a hauling cost contract, did we not know that those were going to be increases in the contract? Were they above and beyond the contract, or did we not budget, accordingly?
We should be fine on the overall budget. Our budget did not change from last fiscal year to this year for hauling. There was a lot of variables in the RFP bid other than just the price. But from what we were paying per pull in the last contract, there was an increase in this new contract.
Inflationary increases are happening all over the place, and usually there are some sort of clauses in there to protect these companies from that matter.
Is there a comment? Is that it, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So 4%, next year, hopefully we will be able to work with waste management on a different level, and some of these numbers hopefully will reflect that. But as it stands year to date, my goodness, 4%, it's a big number, but in the same vein, as Cindy said, we'll be all right at the end. So,
Well, hauling is not waste management. Hauling is Republic.
Thank you for correcting me on that.
That's at the different stations? Like, that's at the different
Drop-off
stations?
centers, yeah.
Since we talking about the different stations, the one over in Shanklin, one of those sites we put dump your trash off in, it needs to be repaired, because the electrical box is like this, where the hauler, whoever goes in there and takes the stuff out and hauls it down the road, it's like this. I mean, and I know if water gets down in that box, it's going to short out, and then Beaufort County is going to be paying out some money.
Okay, that specific box that you're talking about, what's the location again?
It's in the Shanklin, I think it's box number 6 or 7. It's one of those first ones you go, when you get when you do your, when they take the pound and read your card. I can't remember exactly, but it's been, I think it's the first or second one that's like that.
Okay.
And it's been like that for about a year now. Nobody's gone in there to put it up, but I know those boxes, because I've worked on them in the Marine Corps, those boxes are designed to protect the electrical circuits in there so they won't short out. Mm-hmm. And the box is laying like this, not far down, but it's laying that way,
Okay.
Once water get in it,
Yeah.
it's over.
Maybe we could have our trail do a drive-by, Angel, something like that, and take a look at it, and then we can ask for repairs accordingly.
Okay, we can get someone out there to look at it.
Yeah. It's better to catch it before.
On that same note, all of our centers have been reviewed through our risk management department, as well as bringing in an outside consultant from Columbia. We're awaiting their report, and so we have a lot of things that we'd like to improve, but we'll make sure that our operations folks look at that specifically in the meantime.
Good, thank you. Okay, Angel, we're gonna keep calling on you here. Recycling?
Okay, going to disposal, the graph is up there. Beaufort County pays for all residential household garbage disposal, both residential curbside and collection centers. For July and August of this fiscal year, disposal costs were $11,398 less than the same time frame last fiscal year. The tonnage so far this fiscal year is 14,694. This is 1,133 fewer tons than this time last year. So again, as a reminder, these savings are impressive, but as the population and tipping fees increase, our decal program is not the final solution. So next, the center traffic for July and August. August center traffic is down 31,081 vehicles compared to August of last year. We do continue to stay below that trend line.
And specifically, that's because of the decal system, correct?
Yes, we have continued to see that traffic decrease. So recycling for July and August, our recycling tonnage to date totals 528.95 tons. We are below budget for the fiscal year with 14% expended after 2 months of operation. We continue working on new educational campaigns to increase recycling and reduce contamination. Continued discussion of a MRF in Beaufort County should boost our recycling goals. In addition to the original Public Works South property, staff and outside consultants are evaluating the Simmonsville site again as a potential location. Recycling revenue so far this fiscal year is $7,625. Waste management processing costs minus credits still left a balance of $14,009 to handle recycling costs. Any questions on those?
Okay, so that's basically negative 4,000 plus there. This is where we need to get Waste Management to step up and really partner with us. So there's been a reorganization in Waste Management. So personnel have flipped, and we have new individuals in different spots. So, and we are in the process of making a request to have all decision makers from Beaufort County and decision makers from Waste Management get together, because these are the type of things that we need to address. And then in addition to that, obviously education is at the core of it, so. Okay, Angel.
Okay. Next, we are going to go to our recycling coordinator report.
So we just had our electronic waste event in August, and then our next one will be December 10th. This past weekend, I put a booth out at the May River, the Fall Beach Sweep, and I got to talk to people there. I've also reached out to every single school in Beaufort County, and I have had an overwhelming responses of teachers and principals get back to me, so I'm working on scheduling dates to get in the schools and educate, and I think that's really important, like you've been saying, education, so, yeah.
What can we do to help you with education? Because I have been on this education enforcement. Yeah. They're two things, they're separate, but they're the most important key to fixing this problem.
I agree. My biggest focus is on high schoolers. I know people want to always say start young. I love to get in like the elementary schools, the younger kids, but our high schoolers are the ones that are going out on their own. They're the ones that are leaving the house next, and they're going to be living on their own. So they're the ones making the decisions if they want to recycle or if they just want to throw everything away. So I think really educating high schoolers, college students, along with the young ones too that go home and tell mom and dad, like, we need to do this. It's great.
Yeah. Are you giving them collaterals to take home to show their parents?
We do have a ton of handouts and lots of information to pass out for them that they can take home and show, like magnets to hang on the fridge. I think it's great. They put it up there, they see it, different flyers and stuff that they know exactly what to recycle with visuals.
Okay, that's good. I commented earlier today, since I moved here in 2015, this problem has significantly decreased due to everyone in this room and where we had lunch with the volunteers from Palmetto Pride. But this educational thing, there is a mindset of generational littering here. And that's what I call it, just because you saw dad do it or grandpa do it. So, and it's one of those things that we just have to find a way, you know, and we just gotta keep hammering it home.
I agree, just not letting it up, and the more I can get into schools and the more I can get to events and out in the community and really encourage recycling, I think the better it will become.
Yeah, so the people can truly understand what that does to the ecosystem. So not just our visual as we drive by,
Yes.
but what we're actually doing to our county.
And to add to that, I think it would be really important to get, specifically in high schools, to get clubs going. I mean, kids are constantly looking for volunteer hours for community service, and volunteering at the convenience center, maybe just doing recycling things to get those volunteer hours. Maybe they are the students that collect all the recycling at the end of the day and take it to their dumpster, but different activities to actually get kids involved, hands-on, not just telling them and maybe they forget it when they go home, but actually getting them involved and doing it.
Yeah, we just need to keep pushing. Good job, thank you, and again, welcome. We're happy to have you. Mike, you got any comments, Mike Bennett?
Yeah, you know, it's ironic that you're saying something about the schools. I was going to mention this later. Is that the schools they don't really have a recycling program. I was at the football game the other day, and every bottle, can, everything was thrown away. And it seems to me that, you know, having the training and the education is absolutely fantastic, but then actually having the practical application while they're at school, I think would help quite a bit. Do we know why the schools don't have at least a bottle and can program that's you know, relatively comprehensive, not just an isolated event? I know that our company does several private schools, and does anybody know why that is? And if not, is there any way to look for, you know, maybe that this board can take that on as a project to push that initiative?
Mike, when Ashley Jenkins was here, she was very active with an environmental liaison group of teachers where they actually got some continuing education units to come and talk. The school district has their own contract. At that point in time, it's with Waste Pro, which really kind of spearheaded, I think, with paper more than anything else. We're going to try to get back in the schools, like Chloe said. The other thing that the Palmetto Pride has a program for is, especially like the football games, you know, to have a civic group that'll go out and pick up the cans and the bottles and the litter after the game. And we tried to support that with our, I don't know if you remember, we had the little litter vacs that we got with a grant a couple of years ago. And so our trail and his crew had, I think they did one a year before last. We just haven't had many high schools that have shown interest. So I'm hoping that Chloe can get that ball bouncing again.
Is there anything that the board can do to support, to promote? Because it really is, these events, I was watching this event, I mean, it's a real missed opportunity, you know? And it should be a little more, you know, anytime you do volunteer environmental work, you know, with clubs and stuff, you're very limited to the assets of that club. You know, it should be on a more contractual and robust level of having a service and things like that, where they can guarantee that it'll be picked up and guarantee that, you know, the training's there and that sort of stuff. So is there something the board can do to help promote that? Or is that something that the board wants to take on as an initiative? Either
way, I know recently I've been in touch with one of their, the school representatives to talk about their book stock recycling. We're trying to get a program together that not only impacts us, but the library system and the schools so that we can do it a lot smarter. But I think what Chloe's got planned for getting into each of the schools, usually those folks that are in charge of those contracts attend those meetings. And I think that's going to be the best way to start. We can always use help, and especially folks like you that are in the business, to give some guidance. We're welcome to anything.
Yeah, I'll definitely gladly help. We've had a lot of success in other schools, and they're a little tricky. They definitely have their ups and downs, but okay. Well, that was it. I'm glad to see it's working toward. Thank you, guys.
Cindy, I would like to email Dr. Rodriguez and invite him to one of our meetings where we could have a comprehensive conversation in regards to the totality of the problem. So for you guys that don't know, he's the superintendent of schools in Beaufort County for the public school system. So, and he's a wonderful human being. He's a great guy. So how would we go about just me sending an email to him would be adequate, or as far as protocol, or would I be doing something that Beaufort County would frown on? Cindy, do you have the answer?
You're welcome to invite him to our meeting, or you're welcome to, if he'd rather have a workshop meeting with us. However, small meeting, large meeting, we're open to whatever. We instead of going to him, we tried to go to the folks that were the hands-on people, and we'd be glad to have his support as well.
Do you think it'd be more appropriate if we, as a collective group, went to him? Do you think that would be like a workshop, as you called it, versus asking him to drive up here and attend this meeting? Which way do you think would be a better option?
Well, that way he could focus on just that one matter instead of everything else, but that's up to him and his schedule. I'm game for either way.
Okay.
I
will do that. So
I think it would be better if he came up here.
Okay.
So he can hear the whole gist of everything and what we are talking about. That's what I think.
Okay.
And since we're talking about that, I know we give out contracts to the people that cut, or is DOT to give out the contracts, the people that go around cutting down highways, because you can go down the highway and pass one of these tractors that's cutting the highway, and they can see it, but they won't pick it up. They just go, and we're talking about litter, that if they can, I notice in Georgia, if they got a tractor out there cutting, before the tractor goes through, they got 2 people out there on either side of the road picking that litter up. And there's one other place I seen them doing that.
I think we're making progress in that area, and that also is in the plan moving forward. There was, I believe, Cindy, was it a $25,000 grant that was received for this purpose? Am I correct with that, or?
Our $25,000 grant was for litter removal. I don't know if, Mr. Bryan, are you talking about just regular vegetative cutting?
Yeah, when they go through and cut the grass, and I saw it in Georgia, right in Chatham County. If these contractors going down the road and they cut the road, there's somebody going ahead of them, about a mile ahead of them, picking that stuff up, putting it in plastic bags, and it's on the side of the road. So we don't have to deal with that.
Right, that is the contract, and our South Carolina DOT had a similar contract, and don't hold me to it, it was either 2 or 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The current contract does not include that for their supplier. And so what we've tried to do is they give us the schedules at the first of the year.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, this particular week on the 19th was our scheduled cycle 5 cutting. So what we do is we notify our Adopt a Highway groups. We do have that $25,000 grant. So we have another landscaping company that goes ahead of the mowers for that. And then our litter crews try to get ahead of them as well. But what you're talking about was part of an older South Carolina DOT contract rather than a county contract.
Okay.
Well, and to add to that, at our haulers conference, Cindy did have DOT come in, address the haulers about that, and they gave out the mow schedule to the haulers because a lot of them pick up the roads near their facilities anyway. So she's on.
It's been very helpful to have it in advance.
Yeah.
I've actually seen progress. I'm sure you've seen some instances that aren't so good. But on May River Road, and Artro mentioned this last meeting, there's specific roads it seems like they do really well with, and others that they don't.
Exactly.
And so we need to kind of tighten that up if that's at all possible. But on May River Road, that used to be a real problem because I picked a couple miles up there and it's spaghetti. I mean, it's a 5-hour job, normally, and if the mowers went over it, it's a 2-day job.
And the other reason I brought that up is because, people come here from out of state to see, because their kids graduating from either, they combined them all now, for graduation. And they drive down the road and they go, well, Paris Island is here, what is this? Think about it. That doesn't look, to me, it doesn't look kosher. You go up 802 Paris Island Parkway, and whenever they're cutting, you go, 21, you come into Beaufort, and you're going down the road and you see.
Yep, it's something that I think is improving, but it's going to take some time. But there is emphasis on it, that's the key words here. To continue through the meeting schedule here, volunteer report. Angel, who's going to do that?
So Caroline was unable to attend the meeting today because she had the annual Adopt a Highway meeting that was held this morning at the Beaufort Clubhouse. We appreciate the time and effort that she spends hosting this informative meeting, and we just want to thank all the volunteers that work to keep Beaufort County roadsides litter-free. We'd also like to thank the Keep Beaufort County Beautiful board member, Brenda McPhee, for arranging the meeting venue.
Yeah, several of us were at the meeting, and I thought it went quite well. I guess my only comment on that would be that next year, and I'll talk to Caroline about this, but next year that we don't just talk about data of the past year, but we take that group that we've assembled, 50 people or whatever it was today, and we really dig deep, and we hypothesize on how can we do better. Because as she explained today, we're staying even, and that's good, staying even. We've gone in the last 7 years from 20 groups to what I said was 120 today. It's actually 112. So we're a lot more volunteers and we're staying even. How can we possibly make it such that we get ahead? That's the thing that's always difficult for me. I forget the percentage. I was told it, but it escaped my mind. But the percentage of people over 60 years old that are in Adopt a Highway, Palmetto Pride. Cindy, do you know that number? Isn't it something like 85%? It's a huge number.
I don't know that number, but I know that Chloe and I were talking about that at the meeting this morning, that we'd love to get a lot more participation from the younger folks. Because once you pick up litter just once or twice, you don't throw it out after that.
No, that's very true. And once your friends see you picking it up. So there was a comment about during this meeting that we're talking about bags and getting them picked up immediately. And so that I didn't interrupt that meeting, I didn't say anything. But when I pick up my bags, I actually, and I think Cindy, you know this, I actually set them aside, and I specifically asked Caroline to leave them sit for 3 or 4 days to remind the people that go by that that's not cool. Somebody had to go out there and work hard to pick up what they did. And I think that's the best advertising. The only time it's not so good is when a truck runs over one of them and then the mower hits it. But other than that, but several of us were at that meeting and it was a good productive meeting. So I like the energy. My comment about the 60-year-old person is that we're growing older and it's getting harder. So, and as it gets harder, I don't want to see that 112 move down to 90. So the question then becomes, how do we get to these younger ages, to that demographic? So it would be through the schools, obviously, but just the regular folk, that are out there and, might have an hour on a weekend here and or there. How do we put a group together to organize something like that, just so we get the information out? Because I think people will help if they're informed. I remember when we started all this stuff with Keep Bluffton Beautiful, that grew into Keep Beaufort County Beautiful and all. So, people will help. And once they help, if they're able, they come back, because it's so satisfying to be a part of such a wonderful thing. So it's just a comment on the age thing, because like I said, it somewhat bothers me when I see someone that's elderly down in a ditch and I drive by. So that, thank goodness for them, but we need to get some young blood in there somehow, some way. My 2 cents. Does anybody have a comment on that? Okay. My 2 cents then. Okay, Angel.
Okay, the litter enforcement report. Artrell Horn, our litter control supervisor, Raymond Mann, who's on the litter crew, Robert Gadsden, who's one of our foremen, and Mike Rickaby with Beaufort County Sheriff's Office attended the 2022 Litter Conference on September 7th through 9th. The Keep Beaufort County Beautiful affiliate was recognized, and Beaufort County teacher Adam Marcinkowski from Beaufort Elementary was awarded the Palmetto Pride Volunteer of the Year for his work with education, litter removal, and promoting the County America Recycle Day Art Contest.
And did I hear you in there say something about the Department of Natural Resources that are going to be helping more this year?
That's something that Cindy and Artrell are looking into.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That's fantastic. That's truly fantastic. What do I want to say on this? I have had 2 conversations in the last month, well, maybe 6 weeks, with Sheriff Tanner. He definitely wants to help. He's in a very tight spot. So it's tough to pull over when you're short-staffed already, way short-staffed. It's tough to pull over and recognize writing a ticket for litter. Very difficult thing to do. So if I'm not mistaken, is Artrell not recruiting additional enforcement officers, or what's happening with that, Cindy? Do you know?
He's not recruiting. He can write tickets. John Millage, who is our existing foreman, can write tickets. And in this picture, Robert Gadsden, he's our newer foreman. We're getting him some training so that he's qualified to do that. With our staff, the hurdle is that they can't stop a vehicle. So they're a little bit limited on what they can do. Matt Riccabini, that's with the Sheriff's Office on the far right of the picture, he does have that capability and he's assigned to us. It's just we don't get him 24/7, 365 because he does get assigned to other duties. So right now, I've talked with Jasper County, and they've had some success with their DNR officers that are already out and about in the environment with writing some tickets and that sort of thing. So Artrell and I are scheduled to meet with them the first week of October.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So great job on that. All right, Angel, I will see you later.
Okay. So real quick, the solid waste ordinance 62, the consultant continues to review and make edits. The first version has been submitted to our legal staff for input before further changes are made. Once this has been drafted, we will bring it to the board.
I kind of just want to make a request, if it's possible, to see it in its earliest version. I had real problems with the prior one. I gave a kind of detailed markup. I don't want to get into controversy with everyone, but having these things run through and then bitching and moaning at the end of it is not the way to do it. the earlier you get us involved, I think the better off you are.
At what point could you see our involvement as a board start? Would it be post-review, pre-review? What are you thinking, Cindy?
Well, I can tell you that all of Mr. Grainer's comments and markups were provided to the consultant. I think the only disconnect we may have is that some of the definitions are state recognized, and she's going to opt to stay in that format. I've given it to one of our legal staff who a year ago had some issues with magistrates and the penalties that were assigned when they, like if our trail took a ticket to the court system, there was a few things that she wanted changed there. And that's why we're going to her first to make sure those things are adequate. There's a couple of other changes that we want to have to kind of shore up the ordinance itself. And so I think probably the best placement for this might be let that attorney look at it first, let the consultant make any changes that she has, and then before it goes to full legal review, bring it to the board.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Billy, would you agree with that? Because I think, Billy, you were the most outspoken. You made a lot of good points. The consistency of South Carolina, it had to rule. I mean, in terms of the definitions and terminology, we had to parallel the state. So, but I think that would be good. So.
You parallel as well. You start with the 40 CFR, goes to the state, got to be as strict, can't be less. Goes down to the county, has to be as strict, you can't be less, and so on down to the incorporated villages or towns, whatever cities. My problem is you got a solid waste plan written around using poor definitions, nothing is consistent, and to have gotten a draft of a updated solid waste plan and to assume that was acceptable, bringing it to the board, kind of is presumptuous on somebody's part, I have to say, is that I would not accept the solid waste plan update draft that we got in March. And I really don't want anyone to assume that it's acceptable, quote, to me. It may be acceptable to other board members, but I have real problems with it because of the definitions. It's a solid waste plan for Beaufort County, and it doesn't address solid waste of Beaufort County. It really addresses solid waste as collected at convenience centers. There's a heck of a lot more in solid waste than is addressed in the plan, so I have an inherent problem with the plan, and that just comes from 60 years.
Neil, just so that you know, he spent his career in this discipline. So your background, Bill, brings questions to basically the system and the terminology and all.
So that's what it's all about.
So, and you know, and we encourage it, but we just we can't let it become negative.
Well, it's not negative. If you take it as positive and take it for what it's worth, no, it's easy to fix. But the plan as it was drafted and presumed to be approved really is not acceptable to me. And I just want to be on a record that it doesn't address solid waste in Beaufort County. Solid waste is a lot more than you're defining it as. And it all goes back to real definitions. And you still, to this date, in your reports use MSW. No, it's not MSW, it's residential waste. It's not commercial, it's not industrial. And if people will just learn that there are solid waste definitions, it makes life a lot easier for everyone.
So you're saying we need to see it, so what you're saying, we need to see a midway point, and we need to see just before they get ready to put it out.
As
If
a
those don't.
Don't write a whole document and submit it to a board for review. If you do it incrementally, it makes life a lot easier.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, we actually had a workshop on that.
No, the workshop was too late.
Yeah, I agree. It was late, but it helped and it brought presence to the situation, right, Bill? So on a go.
Brought presence, but it still didn't update to what really is in my perspective, a solid waste plan, a solid waste county plan. So I just have to get it off my chest.
Okay. Cindy, do you want to comment or are you good?
All I can say is, Mr. Grainer, we did give every one of your comments to the consultant. And we're going through the process now of a legal review on some of her questions. And as soon as that is finished, I'll be more than happy to bring that back to the board.
So we have a solid waste plan that's inconsistent with the current ordinance, yet it's an addendum to the plan.
The ordinance as it is today was attached to the solid waste management plan that was approved in June. This is going to be an update to the ordinance itself, and then we will review the solid waste management plan as a board again in March.
Okay. Let's move on. I think we've discussed that enough. Yes, we need to be part of that. Yes, we need to have uniformity. We're moving in that direction. So, and we just need to continue to move in that direction. And I know this has been extremely frustrating for Cindy because you've been between a rock and a hard place. So thank you for your patience, Cindy. Okay, Angel, are we moving down to number 14, Hilton Head Island, Gregor Island Council Resolution?
We are, and Mike, did you have anything you wanted to discuss on that?
Yeah, so I'll just give you a quick update. You guys remember from the last meeting, we had the initial resolution that was formed by the Greater Island Council and approved, went to the town of Hilton Head and was approved, and which I read at the last meeting. And really the very first one, it didn't have a lot of meat to it. It was more of a statement of support or recycling initiatives, working as a partner with the town of Hilton Head to Beaufort County and starting to build that relationship. And out of that has grown, like I said earlier, we have town of Hilton Head has put more resources, meaning manpower, towards creating workshops and teams to talk about this, move it forward, working with like Cindy Carter and Neil, having monthly meetings to continue to discuss how this relationship is. Obviously, we all know that county's solid waste problem is directly, a partnership of the towns, every one of our districts problems, right? And so we all work together to the final solution of the county as being the mecca. So that was the first resolution, was a support of that with a lot of resources that came out of it. The second resolution, which we just had a meeting, we were trying to get the resolution finalized through Greater Island Council first, and then through the town of Hilton Head, and then to this board for you guys to see. Unfortunately, we couldn't make, it was a very tight deadline to make, and unfortunately we didn't have it available for this meeting, which case it'll push back for another meeting. But this next resolution has a little bit more meat to it. So it's supporting direct initiatives, meaning the town's initiative to work towards a single hauler system. Well, let me put it in order. For the town to work and help coordinate on an educational and marketing level for the county to build a recovery facility, and the town will support that through education and marketing. Second phase of that would be to revisit the single hauler system from a town and county collective partnership, just like we had discussed previously. And then the third one is actually to take a look at our convenience centers and look at possible transfer of solid waste off of residential solid waste off the island in order to ease our transportation loads. And that would be a partnership with the county, depending on how that works. And so those are three initiatives that we're looking to push forward. The verbiage and stuff like it's just kind of being finalized and worked out. I think there's a lot of support. The town of Hilton Head has changed over management and council members and all sorts of stuff in the past couple of years. You guys may have seen that, and so there's a big support to reopen all of these kind of these solid waste. Been great for a few years, you know, and so really that's all I had. Unfortunately, I was hoping to have the resolution to be read to you guys, so you can see where we officially stand, but that won't be until next. And I'll actually turn to Cindy, because Cindy's been working hand in hand, and or Neil. Did you guys have any thoughts? Did I cover that pretty well?
I think the second version is reading very nicely. We do have another meeting tomorrow morning, and we do look forward to working with the town of Hilton Head.
Job well done, Mike.
Oh, well, it's been a teamwork, and really the town has just really come to the plate moving forward, which has really been nice. It has been is a pleasure. Thank you, Neil, too, for you guys taking your time to talk our way through this.
Can I ask a question? Can you define for me a residence that you are considering? What's a residence?
Okay, so residential, that's actually a bigger question. You and I know what it'll come down to. It hasn't been officially defined, because the definition when you come to look at a resident on a hauling side, when you're looking at a vacation location like we are, we're going to have to define it specifically. What I think it will come out to is basically single family home, full-time residence. That will be the starting. And then you have to look at your multiple housing units. You have to look at those, but those I think are at a different level. So it has not been defined specifically yet as far as a.
Well, your multi, that's obviously commercial.
Well, I think so. But if we go back and look at what happened with the Republic contract from years ago, they didn't do that, and there was a lot of issues. They didn't define the residents in such a way that helped make the contract successful. And so, I agree. I personally think that those multifamily homes would be commercial.
I just say that based upon experience.
Exactly.
You totally have to separate single-family residential from what would be considered as multifamily or commercial. Two totally different animals.
I absolutely agree. And I think most of the board, especially after what happened with Republic, I think they're gonna slim down the definition of residential to make it successful.
Good. That's what we're looking for. So we're now down to, is everybody good on the Hilton Head Island stuff? So all you guys, job well done. That's awesome. Great working relationship. As far as we're down to 15, so Waste Management MRF visit, an October 19th meeting. What's that?
Yep, so Waste Management and Palmetto Pride will be hosting a joint meeting on October 19th to discuss education, hauler participation, and stopping litter and keeping the Low Country counties areas clean. If you do plan to attend, please RSVP to Mindy Miller by October 15th.
Where is this going to be at?
It is going to be at the 8029 Speedway Boulevard in Hardyville.
Okay, I guess I would ask if you could please send an email out.
Sure.
With the address, along with that, the time of day that this will take place, and what our expectations are if we attend. A few of us attended a meeting. Bill, you were there when we went out and looked, and I think you and I agree. We kind of walked away feeling as if we got a sales pitch, and wasn't real happy about that. But in the same vein,
That October 19th meeting was sent out, and I think you had a RSVP. Yeah.
But I can send out that information again, just so you have it.
I've had COVID for 3 weeks, so I blame it. But I'm fine now. Thank you. Okay, so
Just go back to the MRF visit that we had the other month.
yeah, that hot afternoon where we walked in the shade?
From an engineer's perspective, it was horrifying.
Yeah, it truly was, totally unacceptable.
Disgraceful.
They came in and met with Jared and Neil. Did that go okay? With Mindy, and was it Mindy's boss?
Just Mindy.
Just Mindy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it was a good initial meeting to start the discussion for Jared and I, who kind of are meeting some of these waste management folks for the first time. And so we're looking, as you know, as a follow-up meeting to continue those discussions. So looking forward to that.
Good. So Bill, I'll let you know as we proceed forward with that. So, so your expertise of setting your career in this, I think it could be a real asset there. So, yeah, I know
How
you.
things came in and we just,
Yep, you were quite white that day, so you definitely were in shock. So, okay, we don't have any public here, so there really won't be any public comments. How about requests going around the room? So, again, I always say, please, let's be proactive. You know, let's all kind of think right now. So, requests going around. So, I've said that I would write an email to Dr. Rodriguez, for example. Let's all kind of take on some kind of responsibility as we leave this meeting, and then when we come back to our next meeting, we can report accordingly. And that would include if you get with your, or that I hope you would get with your councilman. So I don't know if anybody wants to speak out, or if you just want to kind of take it upon yourself or share it in email or whatever.
just have a general request. Now, keep hearing about the MRF now have a consultant, and I'm still confused what the MRF is for. MRF for the convenience center is one thing. MRF for recyclables in the county is a totally different animal. Do we know what animal we're playing with?
We are playing with the recyclable animal. So
Playing with the recyclables with expansion for ultimate, or just to handle the current recyclables? Two totally different animals.
So currently, we had a kickoff meeting, I believe it was this week, with our consultant, HDR. The meeting went might have been last week, so, but just recently. The kickoff meeting went very well. There was some good feedback that HDR provided, and we expressed to them that this is just our way of dipping our toe into the MRF world. I'm not saying that this is the end all be all. And so with that being said, they understood what our goal was, that it was at least for us to start the process.
So it's quote convenience center facility.
It would, not necessarily.
It would start that way though, right? Initially and then grow.
It would, again, this is all dovetails into the Greater Island Initiative and some other things. So there's a lot of moving parts and pieces. Again, this is not the end all be all silver bullet for MRFs for Beaufort County. This is just our first experience and exploration into this world.
Okay, so again, I just want to repeat myself one more time. So my request of you guys is when you come next time, let's all kind of come with an idea of what we personally have done to be proactive with this agenda and this fight that we got going on with solid waste and recycling. And are there any closing comments? Did anyone
Mike,
like
did
to
you have
offer?
something?
Yeah, I was going to say, and just that was to piggyback on the Rodriguez thing. Thank you for doing that outreach, because I said before that schools are kind of a big deal. Angel, I sent you an email that maybe we can get together, next week or something, even just by phone, to kind of talk about that. Probably want to talk about that before Rodriguez comes in, because there are some caveats to it. And then, is there? I go back to this: is there a way to know what options? I guess this is kind of a vague question. I'm sorry, but is there a way to know what the options that the schools have to have a comprehensive recycling program? And maybe that is when Rodriguez comes in. Maybe that's something we can ask him. I don't know. I'd like to keep this on the agenda and talk about it.
So I do see your email. I'm gonna forward that to Chloe. She was actually the one speaking about the schools.
Okay.
She's right here next to me. But she's the one who's gonna be doing all of the school education stuff.
Excellent. Yeah, just forward that, and Chloe, I look forward. We can talk and chat about it.
And I
I'd
do
like to
know-
keep it up.
A lot of schools, a lot of teachers who have gotten back to me, they all have said, not all, a lot of them have said, we had a big recycling initiative and all these plans, and then COVID kind of hit, and then it just never got restarted. So for those schools that did have that, that would be something I would love to just get up and running again, because they already know what to do. They already have their programs in the school. I think it's just the act of getting it going and putting in that effort, because the schools are all different now and there's a lot going on. But I would just love to be that helping person to get in there and push that.
And that's a fair comment to say, we had something and COVID really kind of messed a lot of stuff up. So that's good. I'll look forward to talking to you, and hopefully we can talk more about this on future meetings too.
Good deal. And again, welcome, Chloe.
Randy, I've got a couple of housekeeping things, if it's okay.
Of course, it's okay.
Several of you had reappointment letters handed to you today. I know it seems a little bit early, but those are supposed to be into the administration office by November 1st. And since y'all were not going to meet again until after that date, that's why you're getting them so early. The terms that are expiring are from February of 23, but those reappointment requests go through Public Facilities Committee and Council, and they like to have those done so that when February comes, they're in place. So if you don't mind, Mr. Bryan, you did not get one because your term ends in 2024. I also wanted to let you know that I've drafted up a calendar for meetings next year. Angel has copies of those. And again, we have to get that information into the administration so that they can book the room and that sort of thing. The dates fall just like they have historically. The fourth Thursday at 2:00 and meeting there in that boardroom. And then finally, and just so you'll know, full cost disclosures that are required by South Carolina DHEC are due to be publicized on or before October 1st. Ours is ready. It's been given to the Island Packet in the Beaufort Gazette, and it should be in tomorrow's newspaper.
Good. Are we going to continue to use Zoom, if I can say it that way, from this point forward?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That'll include a lot of people that can't make it because it's a pretty good drive up here. So excellent. So in saying that, I think we pretty much covered everything that's here. So again, no other comments. Our next meeting is December the 1st, I believe I read. Yes, December the 1st in this room at 2:00 or up in the corner where Cindy's at up there. And other than that, I motion to adjourn.
Second.
There's a second. So thank you everyone for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in December. That's actually hard to believe, December.
Thank you, guys.